I still get like 15 minutes of starstruck before I need to calm down.
And here I am.
Yes.
Full definition.
Thank you so much for coming in.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. This feels weird.
Yeah.
This feels real weird.
Don't feel weird. No, I'm making it weird. Intro me.
I'm not a fool. We're not full intro. Like, it's obvious that
No, I want
you
it
are
to
that
be.
person.
I want it to be theatrical.
Okay. Do you just want to like enter as well?
Ladies and
Like,
gentlemen, yeah. I'll roll in. Okay, ready? Go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tom, and I'm here with Jeremy and Lucy.
Graceful as always.
Graceful entry. I think that's perfect.
Thank you.
That's probably the best way to kick off, isn't it? Well,
In character.
everyone has been asking for us to get the cast involved with these Anatomy of Dicks, and now we have one of the cast
Yay!
here. And it is awesome to have
Ready
you
to
here.
dissect a dick.
Yes, dissecting dicks is what this is about. So, yeah, I guess to kick off, when did we actually first talk about Lucy and DiC to you? When was like that first proof of concept?
Well, our backstory
Yes.
is, of course, that we grew up together.
Yes, that's true.
Which is why I call you Philly while everybody else calls you Tom
Mm-hmm.
Phillips. And so knew each other through high school. And then I think it was quite some time into our future that we both realised we were in the same
Yes,
industry.
same industry, yeah.
That you were writing and I was acting. And then, so we did a couple of projects together.
Yep.
And then I had to film a film clip, like a ridiculous parody.
Oh, yeah, Radelaide.
Yes,
Yeah.
Radelaide, and got your skills to do that. And I said, I'll pay you. You said, no, can you give me a day in lieu of your acting skills?
Oh.
And we were
yeah.
doing, and you guys had already come up with the concept. But before then, you and I had talked about the idea
Yeah,
of
that
the
initial
article.
concept of the bad clickbait article.
Yes.
Of 20 things to do to be scientifically more likable.
Including the ridiculous smile.
Yeah,
and
the Duchenne smile.
The Duchenne
Yeah.
smile and everything. I remember us having a chat about that, but it didn't quite have the hook.
No, it was just two, like, it was always good, but it was just two people sort
Yeah.
of chatting. And then as soon as it was a talking robot, it made it funny. But when we actually said to you, oh yeah, it's going to be a talking robot and you're going to act opposite nothing, what was the reaction there? Were you like, oh no, I got this? Like,
Well, I don't want to say I ever underestimated you guys, but I did think it was going to be shit because
that's fair.
it sounded like it would be like, you know, Joey Tribbiani and
Yeah.
mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And I was expecting like a hello, Lucy kind of robot.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
I'll do a day of acting for you. It sounds real
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And then I think even when we were filming it, I kind of had no idea what was
Yeah.
happening that day.
It happened in a whirlwind. Like we had decided we were going to do it, and we were shooting like a week later.
Well, that was like the week before, and then we found out you were in town for a wedding, and it was like,
Yes.
you're staying for the Monday and we'll fly you back.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we filmed that Monday.
That Monday.
And it was great, but I kind of, at this point, I was still like, yeah, this robot that's going to be put in post, sure,
Yeah.
that'll happen.
Did you think it would ever get finished? Because that happens a lot, sort of like, it's like, oh, we'll make this film and it just never sees the end of day. Did you ever have a moment where it's like, this isn't getting done?
Oh, yeah, I don't think I had a lot of confidence that it would get finished. I
Yeah.
certainly didn't have confidence that it would be a product that I was proud to
Yeah.
be involved in.
That's good.
And so then when
Good
I
start.
saw it and my mind was blown all over the wall, could not believe. I was like, who is this Jeremy guy who has developed such things? And I knew you had all the credentials, but I didn't know you could do that.
Well, the day that we were shooting was probably the first day we hung out together. Like, we'd crossed paths,
Yeah.
and then we had an entire day of like, okay, so this little invisible space here, you're going to be talking to here, and I'm going to be just behind that, yelling the lines at you really, really fast.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fine, trust me.
And
it'll
I
be
remember
okay.
that day, the weirdest thing was when I had to be looking at a reflection of Dick in a mirror twice on that one day.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys were like, okay, so he'll be a little bit closer to the mirror, a little bit further than the mirror. So I had to just cross my eyes the right amount to where it'd be floating. I was like, wow, this is a
We framed the
challenge.
shot with me there, I think. So Aaron would get sort of there, and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to stand here. This is where you'll be looking, and I'm just going to like step out, and you just keep staring at that spot there, and we'll be okay.
You just focus on this fat air of nothing.
Yeah. And then we'd be like, you know what? If she ever misses the mark, we could just move him. He floats.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It was fun.
It's
But it was
cheap.
amazing. And then when that was a few years ago now.
Yeah, that was 2017. End of 2017, we did that day writer's room with you, Ethan, me,
that
and
long
Jeremy.
ago?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was December that year. I think we just shot The Way.
Yeah, but there was that little point in between as well where we were still trying to figure out how we're going to finance that first season, and so we did those.
Oh yeah,
two
we
others.
did the other two.
Yeah,
We
that's,
did
I
two
thought
others.
they were first, yeah.
And so,
Forget about
the
that.
first one had just done quite well. We'd released it. Only been out like a couple of months, and we're like, hey, do you want to pop down again? We'll shoot 2 more in a day, and with a really, really sort of small crew. But yeah, there was that sort of like baby step towards what a season would look like. And I think a big part of it for us was trying to learn from all the mistakes that we'd made on that first one. And so the way that we shot it and the way that we designed it, even though, a lot of people see it and don't notice the difference, was trying to lay the foundations for how we're going to execute a whole like 75 minutes of this show.
Yeah.
If we knew we had to do these shots, like I think we've got 460 VFX shots in season 1. And it was just us taking that design, which was really cobbled together, and just refining it and improving it, and then trying to do something fun as well.
Yeah.
So.
I still hadn't met Ethan at that point, I don't think. It wasn't until the writer's room.
It was the writer's room, and that was the first time we'd met him in person. So that was awesome. And that day, like where we sort of, I guess, shot shit around a room, and then by the end of that day, we had that outline of season 1, which has stayed pretty true to like, if you actually look at the episode breakdown of, I think it was actually 10 episodes. We walked away from that writer's room. That was like, this is season 1. I think 8 of those episodes are there.
Yeah.
They might have been in a little bit of a different order, but like that room was just so much. Like I look back to that day and it was just fun. As soon as you and Ethan basically locked into your characters and just started talking shit in character. I remember, like, I think we've got a recording somewhere.
We just hit
of that.
record on our phones and slid it into the middle of the desk. It is quite possibly the most I've ever laughed in my entire life.
I think me too, which doesn't really help. I was
good.
ruining all the takes.
No, it was perfect. And yeah, so that was a heap of fun. Was that, had you done writers' rooms like that before, or?
I'm trying to remember chronologically. Not to that extent, I don't think. I think I've been more involved in script writing that was sort of behind the scenes, doing edits and whatever of other projects, but not sitting at a desk and throwing ideas at the wall to see what sticks.
Did you enjoy that process?
Loved it. It was amazing, and we were so energized the whole time. Came up with some big ideas that I think even then we were like, okay, that'll be a season 2 idea.
We're sitting on a few of those.
I think there was like 25 to 30 just ideas of episodes, because I think that's the funny thing with Lucy and DiC. You can basically put them in any scenario and it kind of becomes funny.
Exactly. Well, and what I was thinking is, I was thinking about this morning, I don't think at any point we actually talked about what my character is, what Lucy is. Instead, it sort of became a fairly heightened version of me, really. So it was, at no point was I like, oh, okay, I need to get into character to play Lucy. It was always just the riffing between Lucy and DiC was so natural, because I think it was just what Ethan and I were kind of naturally doing in that scenario anyway. So there was no real character traits of Lucy other than things that are just me.
That's good.
So kind of a mess and fairly lazy,
but no, I think
quite hedonistic.
Where I think the reason it sort of hits a lot of people is because I think everyone is a mess. Like everybody, even if there's people that sort of look a bit more together, like
nobody's got their shit together.
Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of like even DiC, who as a robot and an AI should have everything sort of together, but he's fucked up. That's kind of cool.
And that's why we get each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
There was a lot of times on set that were quite amazing for me, because the character was so lazy.
Yeah.
That it would be, all right, let's set up this shot for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Lucy, can you get in position?
Well,
and in position was lying in bed. I'm like, all right.
That was actually one thing I really did want to talk about is like, have you ever just had to act in bed relaxing more in any...
I've done very little bed acting before. But no, there were so many scenes that I was just like, I was so comfortable this whole shoot that
Well,
I
you
was
got to
either
wear some pretty
I know,
comfy clothes,
and then
like-
a lot of them were just my pajamas. I was either sitting on the couch, lying on the couch, or lying in bed.
Yeah.
So in the shots where I had to stand up, I was like, God, this is so
Well,
hard.
there's a whole active episode as well. Where it's-
Yeah, that one killed me. Where I was running back and forth, like, okay, one more take. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Can we go back to the couch now? Can we
Yeah,
go?
come
Yeah.
on.
What else?
About
There's
Ethan being on set.
Yeah, I think that was one I wanted to get to, which was sort of, I guess you got so used to not acting with Ethan to have him on set, I think, for that one day. What was that like?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And there were so many, because it was always quite challenging doing that acting opposite nothing.
Yeah.
We had the brilliant acting skills of Jezza reading Dick a lot of the time.
He's so proud of
I'm so proud of this. Well,
And you
I
were
mean,
so great.
from my perspective, anytime we were doing that and I was reading Dick's lines, it was mostly to be like, and we're going this fast.
Yeah.
This is the tempo. And really just to set pace.
Yeah, and then the actor in you would
But then I
start
would
getting
just,
involved.
I would get really into it.
The amount of times I was like, Jeremy, just watch the monitors,
Yeah.
please.
And then you and I would be riffing and cutting each other's voices off, and
Yeah.
then they would say,
Yeah,
"Cut!
yeah.
You've got to do it so you can get a clean audio of Lucy." And we'd
Yeah,
be like,
yeah,
"Okay, all right." So then we'd have to riff, but leave pauses in between our
Yeah,
lines,
it's like line break, line
Yeah.
break, line break.
which
Just,
was
yeah.
quite a challenge. But then having Ethan there meant that we could just riff without having to
Yeah.
worry about it. So
Yeah.
that was one bonus of it. But also just the energy that he brings. Obviously, it's all character and was so great. But I remember when we were doing the couch gags that were unscripted, and you
Yeah.
guys were just going, "All right, you two just do your thing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd do a take, and I would inevitably corpse and laugh and ruin the take. And so then I'd say, all right, do it again. And this time I know what you're going to do. So I've got to come back for it.
Yeah.
So do it again. All right, action. We do it again. We get to that point, and then Ethan says something completely different and I laugh again.
Yeah.
So I could never get through a full take without fucking it up by laughing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he was just so funny all the time. But
Yeah.
but it was awesome having him there. Do that again and I won't cry laugh.
Can we have like choir women, like gospel choir women?
But you... Oh, no, you
Oh no,
go.
I was just gonna say, like, I love those little couch time gags so much, just because the immediacy and the energy does quite, for me, having watched them so many times, sort of putting them together, the energy does shift quite noticeably, because there's so many little micro responses and reactions, and there's an immediacy and the ability to talk over one another. It's
Yeah.
just such a delight to play with, particularly in the edit,
Yeah.
putting it together and then getting all those idiosyncrasies.
And it was cool that, because I don't know if anybody who watched it knows where Ethan was sitting, but that I was often facing him on the couch. Dick was here, but Ethan was sitting right there.
Yeah.
So even though I had to be focused slightly in front of him, I actually had him as my eye line.
Yeah,
so
well, we
felt
popped
the
him
most
down
Lucy and
a
Dick.
little bit
Yeah.
low, like on a stool, so you were sort of staring through where Dick would be.
And
right
so
towards him.
actually having a human that I was interacting with
Yeah.
was quite fun for me
Nice.
during that
Yeah.
shoot of Barren Land.
You were saying at the time you were super nervous about doing the improv stuff, which is
Yeah.
surprising from our perspective. It was just like you kind of do that so naturally well.
Well, thank you.
It was interesting that you were so nervy about it.
I definitely prefer a script. That's just me as an actor, and I will go over lines so many times in
Yeah.
my head that I'm an absolute rehearser.
Yeah.
So by the time it comes out, I feel like I know it really
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But this whole shoot was kind of an incredible learning
Yeah.
curve for me, because we were scripting as we went.
Yeah.
That every day I was getting new updates, and
Yeah.
scene by scene we would do it, and then we'd go, actually no, let's change that,
Yeah.
and let's scrap
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
we were all just kind of moving at such a fast pace
Yeah.
that it was really good for me to let go in that
As
sense.
well, the amount of pages just in general we were doing each day
Oh,
was
so
quite a lot.
fast.
Like even the day with Nat in the office.
Yeah.
That was an 11-page day.
Yeah.
Which is just and it was like 7.5 or 8 hour day.
Yeah.
So that's like,
But I've never had that
ridiculous.
experience of, okay, what's the next scene? Pick up the script,
Yeah.
learn my lines, and then film it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of going into my eyeballs, out of my mouth, and then gone
Yeah.
forever.
Well, like that
But-
rebrand episode, all the Lucy to camera vlog stuff.
Yeah.
That was all written on that day, and there's actually quite
That's
a lot
right,
of that
yeah.
stuff. I remember sitting down in Jeremy's bedroom, and therefore Lucy's bedroom, in the show, like writing that I think 5 minutes before.
And that was
you
off
sat
in the
down and
way,
shot
yeah.
it,
It was all such a blur. But yeah, the improv stuff still scares me because that's because improv is just scary, especially when you do it with someone who's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
So it was, but I feel we always had an element of improv in the scenes anyway, and then Ethan would do his thing in post, and it would change as it went. But the actual on the day. But then it was fine. It was so great, and we had such a good time. And he offers so much when improving with him that it's easy. It's just that he kept making me laugh, and I knew that I would laugh, and that was making me nervous because I'm not good at not laughing.
I think one of my favourites was actually the one that you put forward, which was the I think I'm becoming left-handed.
Yes, well, and that is
Do you want to tell me where that came from?
So that came from our friend Tim Phillips, who a fellow actor. When I was staying with him in LA, and he was just, I think he was just like throwing a ball up in the air. And we were talking about something else, and we were just like eating chips, and then he just goes, so I think I'm becoming left-handed. And I just lost it because I didn't know what he meant. And he just decided that maybe his left hand was his more dominant hand. And the term of becoming left-handed just made me laugh so hard. So when we're coming up with stuff, I've always thought that's got to be a scene.
I think I'm becoming left-handed.
Sure.
Is that a thing that can happen? Have you ever been through that?
And episode 1 is one of yours as well. Like we were in that writer's room and we were trying to figure out, we had so many different
We needed the
intervals and
kick-off
moments,
point.
And it was you that was like, well, why don't we do a New Year's resolution, kicking off the new year kind of thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
so,
I think I was also about to turn 30. So
and well, we
I was listing it in my head.
I think it was a bit of a light bulb moment for all of us in terms of like just a really, really neat beginning. And it also fell right back into that very, very first one that we did, which is very much like that listicle thing. And, we weren't too worried about repeating ourselves because it was just sort of...
It gave us that device throughout the season that we could come back to and go, how are they going in terms of
clean
this
way
list
to
of
introduce.
wins? And now that's released, the internet's a funny place.
The internet is a funny place. I have a bit of background in the internet, as you know, from years of writing.
You go viral about once every 18 months or so.
Well, I feel like viral is a relative term depending on your Facebook friends. Viral amongst our friendship group, maybe.
Just for the audience, maybe point out, I guess, how that started, and just a couple of, and can just be sort of dot points.
Yeah, so I think
a little bit of a beat sheet of your viral moments.
I think I started in about 2013 or 14 doing my own blog. And I had done maybe one a week for a few months. And then I wrote one in response to a journalist who wrote something really rude about Adelaide. And I wrote the classic passive-aggressive open letter to that journalist that just got shared like crazy.
It went nuts,
in Adelaide, and was my first ever experience of my comments going insane, like the notifications on my phone. I was getting calls from like everyone from news and radio to like there was like the essay premiere or someone emailed me about I want to get your thoughts on someone.
That's great.
I can't even remember who it was, but someone high up in politics in Adelaide. So it was a really crazy time. And then after that, I also got a lot of hate from people who just hate Adelaide. I'm like, get a grip. And it really affected me. And then there was some crazy guy who then ended up, I shouldn't talk about that on
probably
internet.
Not.
Anyway,
we
stay safe, stay safe out there.
We'll skip that one.
We'll skip that one. So there was, after that, I then had another one not long after about Cook Eye, the clothing brand. And after that, I got picked up by Mamma Mia, and I was writing for Mamma Mia for a couple of years. And there was a few others in there that kind of went big at the time. But the best thing about writing at Mamma Mia was it gave me a really thick skin against hate, that you cannot please everyone. There's always negative comments. And the more you try and please people on the internet, the more hate you'll get. And it got to the point where everything just made me laugh. Like, I'd get comments like, I want to punch this girl in her fat face. And I'm like, my face? Or the one guy that called me a slack-eyed, glass-jawed yokel or something like that. It sounds, I think it's from The Simpsons.
Which was that one in relation to? Was that...
I think that was actually the Adelaide one.
The first Adelaide one?
Yeah. It was, and just, so much that it would just get to the point where I would look at a comment section and just look at it more like, oh, that's kind of 30% negative, or that's, or that one's 85% negative, rather than anything hurting me.
Yeah.
But then when it came to Lucy and DiC, it was almost every time, that is 100% positive. And it was just lovely. And I don't think until Lucy and DiC, the positive comments had affected me as much, because you read and you just kind of, the negative ones go in.
You need to then sort of check your ups and your downs, because if you get too excited with the good comments, then as soon as that one bad one comes, that's going to hit you just as hard. It hits you,
yeah. But this time, the positive ones were so positive and were so lovely that I'd kind of never experienced that before. So it was amazing, other than there was one weird foot fetish at one point.
I think there's been a couple of those, actually. Like there's there's been some thirsty folk on the
I mean, when I look threads like this, like the standards are low. Come on, guys. Give me a chance to
It's been
get
interesting to sort of, because like obviously YouTube does its sort of normal thing of it hides, like it flags certain comments like immediately and puts them away.
Good.
But some sort of just go live, and there's been some shockers.
But no, it was pretty amazing the how positive the response was.
And
as you were saying, and amongst all that incredible positivity, it just took like one nasty one to be like, oh man,
always,
I'd be bummed for a whole day.
You get used to it. But it was also the first time I've had any experience with people who were real fans and who were loving the show, and then were starting to contact me. And I've never had that before. And I remember, I think earlier this year, I was in a pub in Adelaide and got a message a couple of hours later going, oh my God, I saw you at that pub, but I didn't want to say hello, but I love Lucy and DiC. And I was like, you have made my day. Come to my house. Let's be best friends.
That's good.
So yeah, it's been an incredible experience. That this has been the biggest thing I've ever filmed. That the actual shoot of this. So until Lucy and DiC, I'd never kind of played a lead before.
Yeah.
And if I had, it would be a 2 or 3 day shoot. But this was 2 weeks that we filmed, huge days, a couple of overnights in there.
We did a couple of when we were burying the body,
but that was in the Arvo.
But also with Kate.
Kate Boggs.
That was a real. I think we finished at 4 a.m. or something crazy. So it was just this massive shoot, and it was mostly me as well. So it was.
Yeah, that's
like nothing I'd ever experienced.
2 full weeks of just and like seriously leading.
It was with no one opposite me a lot of times. So I don't think I'd ever had to put that kind of energy into a shoot before. So it was a huge curve for me in that sense as well, that I felt out of my element for something I'd never experienced. But it was amazing, and the crew were so supportive, and we got along like a house on fire, and every day was the best day.
Yeah. It was a horrendously wholesome experience.
It was horrendously wholesome.
Do you feel that, I mean, you have performed many, many times during the Adelaide Fringe, and you've also won some awards for that. But do you feel...
I like that you say some, but
do you feel all that experience running one-woman shows has actually sort of helped in that space to sort of, is there any crossover?
I hadn't even thought about it before, but definitely it would have, because I doing solo shows, and when I say solo, I've always got an accompanist there as well, so I do have some support there.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel a bit of the loneliness on stage of just missing the vibe that you get with the cast.
Yeah.
And the support that you get with the cast as well, rather than every joke that either flies or falls flat is on me every time. And so I guess that experience would have definitely helped me in this, just knowing how to bring the energy when it has to be brought.
Yeah.
But every day was a learning curve for me. And also that I think also the fact that we said that Lucy and DiC is in a world of 10% cartoonish. So we'd said that early on, and I was very aware of that. But I know that my face is often 100% cartoonish. So to me, 10% cartoonish is actually bringing it down by 90%. So, and also we were often so close in shot by the incredible Aaron, who could make a plain white wall look sexy. So, I mean, it was easy, but we were always close. So I was very aware that I had to not overdo it with my means, which can be hard to do, and keep it at just 10% cartoonish and not 100%.
Well, it was something that got pointed out to me only after we'd shot the whole thing, that you might have actually been nervous during the production. I was so laser focused on what was going on. At no point did it occur to me that you might be a little bit nervous because, you know.
I was like this the whole time.
I was there every single day, but I'm either terrible at reading people. I should potentially go get
you're a
that
horrible
checked.
person. Everybody hates you.
Or
That's how you
I'm
must say
joking.
it.
no, I'm going to be dwelling on that all afternoon. What I'm trying to get at is that, irrespective of how nerve-wracking that must have been, like the professionalism kicked in very hard because at no point did it register to me that you might have been freaking out.
Oh, good. I'm
you'd
glad.
step on and you'd just run through the lines and
Yeah.
it was sort of business as usual and we'd just roll into it and we'd get the day started.
And I was so tired. But it was I think that was the support crew that we had there was incredible.
Yeah.
But I was definitely nervous, and I think also the fact that I already knew you very well.
Yeah.
And we'd already had a friendship from the Lucy and DiC that we'd filmed before, that coming into this, it was still a balance of friendship and professional and making sure that I am the professional that you want me to be and I'm not like mucking around on set or anything.
Yeah. Lucy and DiC up until now had basically been you acting opposite nobody. Whereas with season 1, the whole idea was, and we always joked, it was about building our Springfield. So bringing in characters, and I guess the way, because we were moving so quickly, we had to punch through so many episodes in such a short space of time. It was basically almost a cameo per day. So as an actor comes in, some of them you knew, some of them you didn't. What was that sort of process like? Because it was almost like we don't have time to sort of warm up. We really didn't get to rehearse.
Yeah.
Just, I guess, jumping straight into it with new actors in this world that I guess had already been established.
Yeah. It was amazing and once again, an incredible learning experience for me. I think the fact that we didn't have time to rehearse made it feel more professional in that we were sitting, getting our makeup done, often just reading scripts and straight into character, and that's how it often is for, actors when they're in a lot of work. So it was so much fun and so fast paced. I was incredibly starstruck and nervous when Kate Box was there, who was just the loveliest person on earth, and she'd filmed all day and then came to the night shoot, so she was quite delirious, and was also playing my mother when she's about, I don't know, a handful of years older than me, so we loved that.
Not in a bad way either,
because she's such a chameleon. It was amazing. And then also with Tash, who was so high energy the whole day and was awesome, and then Rick, who I knew, Tim, who I knew, Jess, who I knew, having all of them in, and Ben.
Yeah, well, Ben was sort of the first day of that second block of shoot.
And what a way to start the first day, who just makes me laugh so much anyway. And I think what he did with that was one of the highlights of the series.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, that was one, I mean, we talk about it sort of to this day, like that character on paper is actually really hard to execute. The way he jumped into that just sort of
killed it
and really elevated it.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun to watch.
His comfort in not being cool, like not appearing cool on camera, like that's actually, I think, really, really important for him to, the fact that he could step in and take the piss out of himself and sort of appear strange or weak or silly. It was such a joy for us to watch because we know that's actually quite an uncomfortable role to take on.
Yeah, and we were laughing so hard.
Yeah,
it was so good.
It's like the sort of supporting cast of like Seinfeld or something
Exactly.
like that. Like you're coming in there to play a little bit grotesque in a way.
Yeah.
And so full credit to Ben for just knocking that out of the park.
And the girls who came in for rebrand as well, they were great fun, and we had such a good day all lying in bed together, and it was just endless awesome. And I did get some heat for the way that I shovel.
Oh!
But
what?
it wasn't
really?
my fault. That I had my brother-in-law, the opening scene, he said, you need to learn how to dig. And I was like, I can dig, but I had to, for anybody who's seen this, I had to specifically be throwing it so that it wouldn't hit a light, which meant I could only kind of do this shallow throw. So I think it's the opening scene of the whole thing. I look kind of ridiculous the way that I'm digging, but 10% cartoonish, so it was all acceptable. And then the other one was when I had to throw the plant off the balcony. And it was, all right, Luce, don't look, but you need to not hit the light on the left, not hit the camera on the right, don't break the plant, don't throw it too far or too hard or too soft.
Because we had Caddison
be
Downstairs.
very precise with your throat.
Exactly, and the crew was downstairs filming it, so I had to, in that moment, and I'm not a sports person either, I've got no aim whatsoever, so I had to do this throw like, and just get it perfectly, and I think it was 100% luck that I didn't kill anyone or the plant and threw it off and it hit the right point, but thankfully we only shot that one once because the second time it would not have worked.
Yep, that's good. That poor cactus didn't make it as well.
Oh no, did I kill it?
No. I think mine absolutely neglect.
They were, what's the episode? Yeah, they were going minimalist. They were simplifying their life.
I euthanized the cactus.
Another thing, one of my favorite bits in the entire season is you and the wine tasting. So talk us through, that
was fun because that was a time that I did get to be 100% cartoonish with my face. Yeah. Although I think in the edit, it was the less ridiculous stuff that we went for because I was going real hard for some of it. That you could probably do a full edit of that scene.
We actually put together a bit of a smash.
Oh God!
Faces,
there won't be any sexy comments on that one, but it was that was my chance to be as Jim Carrey-ish as I could be, and doing all the sound effects, and it was disgusting. But I was also looking the bartender straight in the eye.
Yeah, Roy,
who's incredible, looking him straight in the eye, and he was also trying not to laugh, so it was quite difficult, but. Yeah, that was a real fun one. Then, of course, the most fun of all was the one that we had to shoot in reverse.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That I know you guys have talked about. But one thing that I don't know if you did know was really hard for me to do was drink something in reverse. Because if you think about it, when you're drinking something, you go that way. But I had to drink it that way.
Oh, yeah.
And also, then the amount of liquid in the glass, can that change the red wine? So I started toying with, well, should I be spitting red wine into the glass as I drink it?
Yeah.
But then I'd have to have a cheeks full of red wine the whole time. So in the end, what I had to do was
a fake sip
and just shove it into my face at first and then bring it down slowly and start with the swallow.
Yeah. That's good. We didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
There was so much to think about in that shot, but that was the most fun of all.
Yeah.
It felt the most actory. Well, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Why did we call the character Lucy? When that's my real name.
That's really easy.
No, I can answer that.
That's real easy.
When we were putting that first one together, the whole idea of it was I wanted, when people watched that first pilot, that they felt like they were turning on and catching like halfway through a season 3 of something. Like I wanted to be right into it, not explaining anything. And a big part of that was using just a bunch of shorthand. So we sort of start the episode kind of mid-crisis and all that kind of thing. But I wanted to dip into as much sort of, what would you call it? Like callbacks to almost like old school comedy duos.
Yeah.
You know, so you got your Laurel and Hardys, we had our Lane Orr Woodleys and all that kind of stuff. And when we were trying to come up with a name, just sort of going, okay, so if our character's going to be called Dick, D-I-C, and that using your name and, also harking back to things like I Love Lucy and stuff like that, which has probably a lot of similarity to it. It had that sing-song quality to it, Lucy and DiC.
It rolls off the tongue fairly well.
Yeah. And you immediately do not need to communicate that we're making a sitcom. Like it is already in that space. Yeah. And so when we were trying out a bunch of things, because the character's never named in that first one, and neither is Dick. Like there's no name said. It's just the title as we go in. Because we were still trying to puzzle our way through it. And I think I messaged you, I'm like, do you mind if we call...
It was definitely... And when I wrote it in the script, it was just because it was like, I'm terrible at coming up with names as well. It was just like, it's just Lucy.
Yeah, I felt very special because it was like, you always had me in mind for the role.
It was basically, you had to do it then. Yeah. Like, there was no way.
It was a way to lock it in. Yeah.
That was actually why.
Yeah, that was good because people have asked me,
and you can basically tell them we're lazy. I think that's the easiest
just like
response.
Lucy, we're lazy.
Yeah, we're lazy.
Yeah, I like it.
Fairly on brand,
Sold.
I think. Yeah. I reckon that's a lot of cool shit.
Yeah, that's got us covered.
Yeah, and you're going to have a ticket. And we don't want you to get a parking fine.
It's okay.
Is there anything else you wanted? Anything off the top of the head?
When's season 2?
That is a good question.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. That's a perfect way to finish it.
It is. It is. The panic has already set in.
Now we've got to write it. Yes.
Let's hold hands. Let's hold hands, everyone. That's nice. Thank you.
It's been lovely to see you.
It's been lovely to
Thank
be
you for coming.
here.
Yes. All the way
I'm
from
sorry
Melbourne.
for the number of times that you have to look at my face on a daily basis. Is that enough?